Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Distinguished colleagues, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good afternoon to all of you. I am happy to be back in Kabul on time for a demanding. I was in Geneva in the United Nations, but I'm happy to be back on time for this all-important second meeting of the Kabul process, aptly focused on peace and security cooperation in Afghanistan. Indeed, as indicated earlier today by His Excellency President Ashraf Ghani, this theme highlights the Afghanistan people's desire to seek security for themselves, their family, and community in their country, as well as our national goal to restore a just, credible, durable peace after many years of conflict, displacement, and destruction. I am delighted to see that throughout the day, imbued by the spirit of engagement, all speakers have expressed their constructive views based on a realistic assessment of the situation in and around Afghanistan, as well as global trends that call for effective measures to combat terrorism. I thank all of you for your active participation and for the thoughtful perspectives and recommendations you have shared with the Afghanistan side. This process is mutually complementary, and its success relies on developing a common stance to enable more effective approaches and policies. The process is also multilateral because the Afghanistan case is not a purely domestic issue, nor it is a purely non-Afghanistan matter. However, it's up to the citizens of their country, regardless of affiliation, to agree, to come to terms with their disagreements, their dissatisfactions, their aspirations, and to form a common perspective that can be translated into a national vision. At a talk in Geneva yesterday, I told an audience of practitioners that different explanations are given by different experts on the causes of the 40-year-long conflict in Afghanistan. Some say it's a function of geography. Others point to the shifting tensions between contending geopolitical and strategic interests, while others point to Afghanistan's relations to the state system. I am of the view that at varying degrees, these causes have and continue to play a role. But one complicating factor is the use of violence and terror as a foreign and security policy weapon. It should no longer be tolerated. That's why our challenge involves more than just opposite Afghanistan sides or just countries in our neighborhood. It is within that context that today we are seeking new ways and means of reaching our stated objectives in a manner that can assure the kind of peace and security that is broadly supported, while it does not antagonize any legitimate stakeholder or their vital interest. At the same time, we can by no means ignore the reality that we have a 15-year-old covenant with the Afghanistan people that assures an Islamic republic within the confines of a constitutional order, guaranteeing fundamental human and democratic rights in a better life, while we remain mindful of cultural and traditional tendencies within society. The spirit of this covenant is solid, but the path to peaceful, legitimate deliberation, amendment, and change is also clearly stated under specific conditions. Ladies and gentlemen, the other notion that is part of our theme is cooperation. We have also learned over the years that political will precedes cooperation. How do we reach that stage is the question that needs to be answered by those who have lacked the resolve and acted as spoilers, if cooperation is to help us make headway. International cooperation is a central plank as long as it is in accordance with laws and norms, including sovereign equality and non-interference. International cooperation can take on many forms and involve different actors. The United Nations, in all relevant resolutions adopted by the Security Council, cannot be ignored, especially in regard to nation-state cooperation in the counter-terrorism arena. Over the past 25 years, Afghanistan has experienced various forms of regional and international mediation and peace-building initiatives. None have brought us close to the minimum requirements that a peace process needs in order to make a difference on the ground. Our people, both among civilians as well as our brave security forces, continue to pay a heavy price in the fight against terrorism. We are indeed the frontline state fighting multiple shades of terrorist organizations that aim to destabilize Afghanistan and use our country as a launching pad against others. To our friends and neighbors in the region, we say, we have no option but to work together, share intelligence, coordinate, when necessary, take action against terrorists, regardless of their affiliation or motivations. We appreciate international condemnation when innocent lives are lost by wanton terrorism and violence. But condemnations are not enough. We also need to make better use of international law and humanitarian norms to prosecute and bring culprits, whoever they may be, to justice. On our side, we are committed to protecting and providing better security in cities, districts, and villages wherever our presence is possible and necessary. We agree that at the end of the day, we cannot achieve our security goals without having an inclusive political process in place. Meanwhile, if we claim to have learned hard lessons of the past, it should be clear that terrorist sanctuaries and infrastructures, whenever they may be, need to be on our radar screens. Dear friends, the Kabul process aims to achieve several vital objectives: respect and defend the fundamental rights of our people, including women and children, while we provide a platform for renunciation of violence and denunciation of international terrorism. The government's job is to manage this process through national, regional, and international efforts. We welcome your endorsement as we collectively take action to meet our objectives as soon as possible. We are ready to talk directly, without conditions or threat of violence. Our message is unambiguous. We are committed to the talking and engaging the Taliban on the basis of realistic reconciliation program that addresses issues that divide us or are cause for armed conflict. We aim to conclude with a credible peace and dignified and voluntary return of Afghan citizens back to their homeland. Once again, I want to thank our friends in the international community for their steadfast support of an inter-Afghan peace process. Your role will be critical. At the same time, we pledge to the Afghanistan people, including women, who are an integral part of any effort, that assuring their safety is paramount, and that we will not undermine their accomplishments and their desire for a just and credible peace. At the same time, I want to thank you, Vice Minister Karzai, our colleagues in the government, all participants, your young colleagues which have been busy in the past several days, and all of you for participating here, especially those who have come from different countries, from abroad. Just arrived like an hour ago. I share your sense of being in a different world, but that shows also, that's also a sign of your deep commitment. Thank you.